So you guys heard the breaking news. You guys have heard it over and over and over and over again. Um, Look what it is. You guys see it. You guys see who that is. You guys see who that is. A few years ago, you guys knew the rumors. Kevin Durant to Boston, and now look who's at the middle of your screen. That is Kevin Durant in a Boston Celtics uniform. Yep. Just you guys could look at that for a second. Let that sink in. Yeah, the rumors are back after just winning a championship. After finally getting over that hump and finally winning the championship, you see that again. I'm gonna go on a tangent, and I told Seamus, prepare for my tangent. All right. Um, I'm gonna go off about it. So Kevin Durant, a couple years ago, you guys saw it. Jaylen Brown for Kevin Durant. You guys saw it over and over and over again. It was pretty much a done deal. Kevin Durant was getting sent to the Boston Celtics for Jaylen Brown. Um, it was just it was so it frustrated me so much. All right, I'm gonna go off. I do not like Kevin Durant whatsoever. I dislike Kevin Durant. I hate his decisions he makes in the NBA. He's a snake, and I never have liked Kevin Durant. He's a great player. You got to give him his flowers. He's a phenomenal player. He's great. He's great. I mean, you know he's great. But him going to the Brooklyn Nets, trying to start up his super team, and then he's like, all right, how about this? I want to go to Phoenix. I want to go ruin what they have there. The Phoenix Suns almost won a championship. Like, you think about it, the Phoenix Suns with Chris Paul, Devin Booker, DeAndre Ayton, Mikal Bridges, they almost got it done there. And now you're like, all right, well, I'm gonna go to Phoenix. I have Bradley Beal now and Devin Booker, and look what he's done to that. He is not a savior. He's a cancer to teams. You guys saw it with the Brooklyn Nets. They were supposed to be a dynasty. They were supposed to be the next big thing. No, he ruined that team. You go to Phoenix, who, all right, last year they struggled a little bit, but they were a team that was on site for championships. Kevin Durant is not that. Kevin Durant is older, but he's a look at me player. He's a player. All right, you got to give the ball to Kevin Durant. I do not like him with Boston. I do not like the idea of giving up Brown. I hate that idea. I don't know who you would give up. I hate that idea. I hate every thought of that. Keep the Boston Celtics how there is. There's a lot of talks about we're going to have to do some roster cuts. We're going to have to bring that salary down. Getting Kevin Durant and bringing him into Boston, I hate the idea of it. I don't like this situation for the Boston Celtics. All right, if he came to the Boston Celtics, I would probably become a fan. Yes, because all right, I love Celtics players, whatever, da da da. But what do we have right here? We have Porzingis, we have Drew Holiday, we have Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, and look, you have your perfect team. You have your perfect team. We just won the Larry O'Brien trophy. And why would you give up on a team this early? You can't. You can't give up on this team. We are doing good, and the goal right now, the ultimate goal is going back to back. That's what the Boston Celtics are set out to do, and that's the goal. Giving up on that and being like, all right, well, let's look, it's a serious talk. Kevin Durant to Boston next year. Leave that alone. Look what has happened with Durant. Look, you guys see what's been going on with teams. After he left Golden State, did Brooklyn win a championship? No, they did terrible. They gave up on that superstar group right there. Are the Phoenix Suns even a talk for the championship this year? Absolutely not. Last year there might have been a little more talk. No, not last year, because last year he blew it up too. The year prior to that, maybe a little more talk. Maybe last year a little bit, but Durant destroyed that talk. So I'm just disappointed in that. I'm disappointed that this is a conversation we have to have once again. I was happy when the Durant sweepstakes were over, but now it's a cause again. Lewis, what are your thoughts? Sorry, I had to go off. I am not a fan of Durant Boston. Nope. Stay away. Get away. Go wherever you want except for Boston. Go. Hate it.
I mean, he is a good player. I will tell you that. He's an amazing player, but I don't like him either. I don't like him, and it's because of his decisions in the past. Like, he decided to go to Golden State Warriors, and then like decided to make his own super team. And like you see Tatum like suffered. Tatum couldn't get into the finals. He lost in the finals. Tatum suffered, but he got the deal done. Tatum didn't leave, and I love those type of players. You get me?
Yep.
I love those type of players. I hate those like players like Durant who just leaves and go into a super squad. You get me? Super team. Like the Warriors, I feel like they didn't even need him. He just went there like to get that ring, but he had his chances as well. But it's just like he can't like deliver. But he is a good player. I really like him, but at this point, he's old. I don't know what
He's
they
old.
gonna ask for him. It's not like he's in, he's not like 29 or something. But he is still good. But what's the price for him? If we get him, I mean, imagine the salary.
Wait, is he a free agent next year? Is that what we're saying, or is he? Would that have to be a trade?
So Kevin Durant this season. Now this is pretty obsolete because the Phoenix Suns. He's going to be on the Suns roster for the rest of the season. They're going to divvy out the rest of his checks, but he's making $51.2 million this year. To me, I don't know who. I really don't know who came up with this rumor about Kevin Durant. I believe it was from Fox Sports One. Don't exactly know the person who gave out the rumor, but I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it. The only thing that I would see with Kevin Durant when it comes to potentially joining the Boston Celtics would be the new Celtics ownerships or the new Celtics ownership led by Bill Chisholm. Look, I'm hoping Bill Chisholm is great. He's going to be a great owner, but
no, we are not bringing the scary stuff back. Seamus,
I'm just saying, okay, there is a precedent that is
Seamus,
being set right now. Here's what I'm saying. I'm just going to say this. Wick Grosbeck, okay, maybe I want to get my facts straight on this before I really talk about this aspect. So I'll refrain from going too far into the ownership thing. But Bill Chisholm, I'm just saying, we don't know what type of owner he's going to be. We don't really know when he's going to take full control of the team. They're saying, 3 years, blah. No, you don't buy a $6 billion item and 3 years later you're going to take it over. It's like, no, you're going to take it. You're going to progressively take it over as soon as humanly possible, and everything else is just the labeled hoopla when it comes to him and with Wick Grosbeck and the Grosbeck family of who's running what. If you're divvying out the checks within the organization, you're going to be making the decisions within the organization, no doubt about that. And so for me, that's where I look at it and go, could the Celtics go wild with new ownership? 100%. 100% they could do something wild out there because what we've seen over the last 20 years with Wick Grosbeck is consistency. We know what type of decisions he's going to make. We know that he's going to stick with his guys. We know that he's big on development and letting guys really go through those moments like we are talking about, Durant kind of hopped ship there in Oklahoma City, went over to Golden State to build a championship roster. But Wick Grosbeck with the Boston Celtics, it's always been about building those championship rosters from the ground up. Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown drafted to the Boston Celtics, growing those championship rosters from the ground up. And we all know Wick sticks with his guys and develops his guys. And we know the level of consistency that comes with that and the standards in the Celtics organization. Now those standards are a little, we don't really know what those standards are going to be. Is it going to be, an impulsive type of decision making? Is there going to be impulses that happen that affect decision making when it comes to going out and attaining certain players? I mean, think about how many times we could have traded Brown or Tatum. I mean, Brown or Tatum, they were almost traded as picks. So I think they were the Nets picks at a certain point in time. 2016 Nets pick, 2017 Nets pick. Everybody was saying, "Oh, can we trade that?" I mean, that was a legitimate thing on the table. Phil Jackson from the New York Knicks in 2017 asked the Boston Celtics and offered this package, Kristaps Porzingis for Jaylen Brown, who at that point was just a rookie, averaged like 7 points per game his rookie year, really didn't do anything as a rookie. I mean, I remember he scored 19 or 20 points against the Magic one game and it was like, oh, he scored over 20. It's like Shireman right now. Like Shireman scores 20. We're going, oh, that was Jaylen Brown at a certain point in time after that season. And before Jason Tatum, the Celtics picked Jason Tatum with that third overall pick. It was that third pick and Jaylen Brown for Kristaps Porzingis. Well, you look what happened. The Celtics went, no, we're not doing that. And at the time, that wasn't outlandish because it was number 3 overall and like a pretty good prospect in Jaylen Brown, but not a developed prospect, not a guaranteed whatsoever. I mean, he could have been another glorified Andrew Wiggins. Then people forget 2018-19 and even into 1920, we were thinking Jason Tatum was going to be an Andrew Wiggins like player where he's just not quite that impactful the way you'd want him to be as a superstar. But these guys, they almost traded about my rate of times, a plethora of times. And even looking at that package back in 2017, it's like you could have had Porzingis for Brown and Tatum. Instead, now we're watching Kristaps Porzingis just play next to Brown and Tatum, and that's part of the patience that pays out in time. Is we didn't make that knee jerk move for Kristaps, a solidified star, a rising star at that point, 2 seasons into his NBA career. We didn't make that deal then so that we could keep our picks, keep our players, develop their our guys, and then eventually later on in time we get Kristaps Porzingis. Anyway, that's what I see within the new ownership as we don't know if that's going to happen. We don't know if that level of patience is going to happen. We don't know if a Jimmy Butler or a Paul George, 2017, 2018, 2019, they came around. Jimmy Butler, he was disgruntled with the Chicago Bulls. He was on the trade market. Paul George with the Indiana Pacers, he was on the trade market. DeMarcus Cousins, people forget, with the Sacramento Kings, he was on the trade market back in 2017. And it was, are we going to trade Tatum, Brown, one of these picks? Like, are we going to trade him for one of these stars? And that's what I see in the future as maybe there is a little less patience in our ownership now where we potentially make some of those deals and we're not as patient. We don't pass up on all the time in 2019, 2020, and 2021 to go build a championship roster in 22, 23, 24. Maybe that time there's a little bit more of a knee jerk in there. That's my concern with ownership because we're really talking about Kevin Durant right now. Kevin Durant, financially, it does not make sense for the Boston Celtics. I'll brief this.
He's
Between Holiday, White, Porzingis, Brown, and Tatum, those 5 players on the payroll next season, their salaries combined increase $35 million next year. So the starting 5 we're rolling out today, they'll be $35 million more expensive next year than they are this year. And that's going to cause a massive problem within the Celtics salary books because the luxury tax at that point is just going to be astronomical. I mean, I cannot express how astronomical this luxury tax bill could look. I mean, it could be $500 million on top of what the team salary sheet already looks like. That could be around 200 million plus. I mean, you're talking about a near $1 billion basketball team at the end of the day. That is just insanity for 15 guys. But that's the thing with Kevin Durant is where do you slot him in? We're already at a point where the Celtics are hamstrung financially with all of the players on the roster. Brown, Tatum, White, Holiday, Porzingis, you're going to have to move off of one of those guys for Kevin Durant, if not multiple of them for Kevin Durant. And in that scenario, who do we do? I mean, who do we look to and now to me, the Suns don't have much leverage, I will say. But Kevin Durant that's the number I really wanted to get to here is Kevin Durant next season going into next year. This year I gave the obsolete number, but next year he makes $54.7 million. I mean, where does that realistic? I mean, if you cut out Drew Holiday's $35 million next year, you're still looking at that's 21 million extra dollars to put Kevin Durant on your roster over Drew Holiday. And is that really worth it at that point in time? I mean, I really look at it and go, I don't know how you're talking about maybe trading Brown for Kevin Durant, but to me that doesn't make any sense because Kevin Durant is over 35 years old, whereas Jaylen Brown, he's in his 20s. It's like, why would you trade a guy in his 20s in the midst of his prime at age 28 for somebody who's going to be 36, 37 years old? Does not make any sense in the world whatsoever. You're probably looking at moving off Brown because you're swapping a forward for a forward, and the salaries Brown is going to be making just a very hefty salary moving forward, 60 plus million in the next couple of years. But those guys, it's like why would you trade Brown for Durant? That just doesn't that I don't see the Celtics going up. I mean, I see them going sideways and their window actually shortening. Doesn't make any sense to me. But furthermore, it's like Porzingis, But anybody else, Porzingis, Holiday, White, you're paying an extra 20 plus million just to add Durant. And it's like, is it worth 20 extra million towards the luxury tax, towards the
No.
salary sheet, just to add Durant over a guy like Holiday, over a guy like White, over a guy like Porzingis? Doesn't make much sense to me to add $20 million more to your salary sheet just to add a guy like Kevin Durant and take out one of these other intangible pieces. And then you're moving on to guys like Tatum or Brown. I mean, all the bench guys, they don't matter. I mean, they could be throw-ins like Al Horford or Sam Hauser. Al Horford's actually a free agent, so he wouldn't be able to fit in there. But a guy like Sam Hauser, you could throw him in there, but they're not making up the big salary you need to meet that 54 million in order to actually go and trade for Kevin Durant. It would have to be Porzingis, White, Holiday. And like I said, if you're replacing one of those guys with Kevin Durant, how much better are you getting? Plus the price tag of $20 million more. After that, you're looking at Brown or Tatum. Brown or Tatum makes no sense to me. They've been here this entire time. They're in the midst of their primes. They've won a championship together. Why would you go out and grab Kevin Durant? That's where I see this rumor. I'm going, where does this rumor even come from?
Yeah.
Where does this rumor, like, financially, it doesn't make any sense. Logistically, it doesn't make any sense for the Celtics. From a futuristic standpoint, it doesn't make any sense. Like, none of the Kevin Durant rumors make any sense because of his salary, because of his age, because of his play, because of where the team is right now. None of it makes any sense. It was cool to think about back in maybe 2021 or 2022
Yeah.
when, oh yeah, the Celtics, they're kind of middling. And in 2022 we made the finals, of course, but in the middle of that year, it's like, oh, we're middling, 18, 20. It's like, could we, get somebody like Kevin Durant? Could we get a star on this roster? The big one back then, we dodged a bullet because, hey, talking about Kevin Durant's teammate, Bradley Beal. Bradley Beal. We all wanted Bradley Beal at his huge salary, and that would have been a complete disaster if we went out and actually traded for Bradley Beal, because we see he's not even playing tonight for the Phoenix Suns. The Suns and Celtics, of course, play later tonight as this being recorded. We'll note that for the people.
Yeah.
But Kevin Durant, the whole thing doesn't make any sense. And for me, Kevin Durant, he's falling into this category of player where I just some of the old guard. LeBron's lucky that Luca is on his roster right now, because some of the old guard, looking at with their salaries, going, okay, they're being paid for what they did a while ago in their prime.
Yeah.
Like Kevin Durant,
That's
54
true.
million for Kevin Durant. That's his payday for what he's been able to do his entire NBA career.
Oh
And
yeah.
I know Kevin Durant's still a talented player today, but if you're paying Kevin Durant $54 million, can you really fill out the rest of the roster behind Durant, who's not in his prime, to actually go out there and make up a championship team? That is where I look at this whole situation and go, we've seen this happen before in time with Russell Westbrook, John Wall. I mean, guys who have completely fallen off the cliff in terms of them being in their prime. Now, Durant hasn't fallen off the cliff like John Wall, and I would say Russell Westbrook. Did he ever really fall off a cliff, or really was his usage percentage taken down? It's like Russell Westbrook, I feel like teams just went away from using him. But regardless, within those situations, it's like Durant, if you have Durant on your team at his salary number and he's not in his prime, can you really build a championship roster around that? That's where I look at LeBron. It's like age 40, he's making 50 million. It's like if he didn't have Luca, another top 5 NBA player on his roster right now, I don't know if you would have as much of a chance. Like that's the same thing with the Warriors over time, is Draymond and Curry. They're kind of falling back a little bit. And then you all of a sudden look at the rest of the roster and go, they have to they have to hit on all these draft picks and all these young guys, and it's been a little the mixed. They've had mixed results in Golden State with that. Obviously, you just traded for Jimmy Butler, and they're making a run, but that window is so short for Golden State. I mean, they're at desperation trading for Jimmy Butler, but that window is so short. Right now, the Celtics, if they can re-sign Tatum, if they can re-sign Brown, even after their current deals, which their extensions haven't even kicked in, so that's kind of a conversation for later on in time. But their championship window, I mean, it could be much further down the line than what we think. It's like, oh, this year, with this team, this iteration, just this team. It's very common for championship squads and dynasties to potentially take a step back, a year off, and then not rebuild, but retool a little bit, and then get back into a contention. I mean, we saw the Spurs; they won in 2000, or say they won in 1999, they won in 2003, they won in 2005, 2007, and then again in 2014. I mean, you retool; you don't have to go back to back every single year. There is an increased pressure on this iteration of the Celtics team to go back to back and to win as many titles with this squad because we can't really financially keep the squad together for the long run. But if you have the pillars of Brown and Tatum there, in time, you might be able to build another championship level squad, even without a Porzingis, a Holiday, or a White later on down the line. If you keep Brown and Tatum in place and you don't go and trade for a crazy superstar out there with the Mavericks, with the Phoenix Suns, I mean, both of those teams really look at where they were just a couple of seasons ago facing off in the Western Conference semifinals. They've completely put themselves in a place where their window is the next 2 years, and then after that, they're up in the air. I mean, the Suns with Kevin Durant, they had this little 2.5 year window, didn't really do anything with it, and that's it. It's like, you sacrifice the Suns sacrificed their championship window from what you were talking about, Griffin, with Chris Paul, DeAndre Ayton, Mikal Bridges, Cam Johnson. Hey, throw out Jay Crowder in there. Hey, we'll throw Jay Crowder in there as well.
Yeah.
He was with the Suns
Celtics
back
legend
then.
right now.
Of course, and number 9, boss man, got to give him a shout out. But that Suns championship squad, that longevity was sacrificed for Kevin Durant. The other team I was talking about, the Mavericks, their long term success with Luka Doncic, who's 25 years old, which isn't it crazy? Doncic, Shireman, only 1 year apart there. Just going to
That's
point
nuts.
that out right there. But Doncic, 25 years old, the Mavericks, they trade for a 31-year-old Kyrie who just tore, or sorry, they did trade for Kyrie earlier on in time, tore his ACL. But then they go and trade obviously Luca for Anthony Davis, and now all of a sudden the Mavericks, instead of having this elongated window with Luca at 25, now it's like, okay, 2-3 years, Kyrie and Anthony Davis, they're not going to be. I mean, they're not going to be relevant. I'm already looking at Kyrie going, is he going to come back the same from this ACL injury? I mean, he's old. He's an older player. His body might react a little bit differently to surgery and rehab, differently than what it was when he came back from his knee injuries earlier in his career. So that to me is just where the Celtics, they cannot go in for Kevin Durant from the standpoint of, you see these teams out here, they're trading for the old guard. I mean, even the Clippers. I mean, you trade for James Harden. Not like the Clippers had a young window, but they kind of did. It's like, all right, you trade for Kawhi Leonard, Paul George. That didn't work out. You trade away Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. All of a sudden, he's the league's MVP. And now you're dealing with a guy like James Harden. Later on in time, you trade for him. And that's where the Clippers kind of moved to that old guard, took a chance on their longevity for the moment. Didn't happen. And now it's like, where do they really go? The old guard, they're going to eventually retire. But the Suns, the Clippers, the Mavericks are all examples of that. The Celtics cannot fall into the same category in time with Kevin Durant if they were to want to go out and get him. But again, it just doesn't make much sense. Porzingis, White, Holiday, salary wise, you'd have to move off one of them, but then you'd be adding salary, which then you couldn't do that in a trade. You have to find a way to see. That's the thing. The trade, you'd be sending out way more than what you're getting back in Kevin Durant. And that's just fundamentally, that's not what you want to do in a trade. I mean, we saw the Hawks and the Pelicans do that last summer. It's like, oh, the Pelicans, you give away Dyson Daniels for DeJounte Murray. And it's like, oh, no, you wouldn't even trade Dyson Daniels for DeJounte Murray straight up now. And the Pelicans gave up Larry Nance and picks on top of that just to get DeJounte Murray. So the Celtics want to avoid something like that. And to me, this Kevin Durant rumor, I don't think we have to worry about it. I really, I don't see it as financially or logistically possible for the Boston Celtics. And it just doesn't make much sense to me. The only conspiratorial side I would have with this is new Celtics ownership wants to make a big splash, doesn't really care about the culture, doesn't care about the championships, doesn't care about the rings, doesn't understand everything that's been built the past really decade with the Boston Celtics. And they just come in here and blow everything up to oblivion to the point where we have Kevin Durant on the roster. That is a possibility, I will say, but I'm going to say it's slim compared to the Celtics standing pat and not going out and getting Kevin Durant. I don't think you have to worry, Griffin. Kevin Durant, I would say I'm on the I love Kevin Durant from the, like, obviously the play side of him. Personality side, I think he's a little tricky. I think he's fine in like a chill setting. Like, you go outside, you might sit on the porch, might smoke a little bit with Kevin Durant. It's like, yeah, you'd be chill in that scenario. Like, you're a little chill. Like, you'd be like, oh yeah, Kevin Durant. You're like, okay, yeah, Kevin Durant. But then from like a teammate in the locker, like, I see Kevin Durant as like this superstar who's like non-vocal. It's like, oh, he's our best player. It's like, what do we want to do for him? And he's like not the most approachable, most vocal person in the world. And I think that can rub some people the wrong way. And he's obviously very active on social media and with the media, and he's always battled. This is one thing. Kyrie and Kevin Durant, I'll say this about them. They battled the media. No, no. You can't battle the media and make sense of the media. Like they tried to make sense of the media from the standpoint of like this is what you guys do and this is what we're saying, this is what you guys are doing, and the media was just taking all of that and going, oh, actually, what we're doing is mining content out of every single word you're saying. So if you're gonna say this to us, it's like we're gonna present it in this way over here, and it's like Kyrie and Kevin Durant would just keep shooting themselves in the foot because they would try to explain like oh no, this is the game of the media, like this is what you guys do, blah blah, and then the media would turn around and make all of that conversation into like oh their problems, like oh they're annoyed with this, or it's like, and they would just be kind of like they would explain, they would kind of argue, they would debate, they would have more intelligent takes at the podium, and they would always battle with the media, and from that standpoint it's just I feel like kind of they got into a realm of the NBA fan base not really liking them. But Kevin Durant in Boston, it's like it's
Don't
not
want it.
happening. It's just
Don't
not
want it.
happening. It's from my perspective. It's like we don't ever have to deal with this. I mean, unless he's taking a minimum later on in time, we don't ever have to deal with Kevin Durant in Boston. I don't see that as a plausible scenario playing out. We already saw one of the two, Kyrie, play in Boston, and have we learned? Have we learned?
Yeah. We'll wrap this up though. You guys heard about the Kevin Durant stuff. I'm tired of him. I don't want him. Go Kevin Durant. I'm done with the rumors. But to finish this off, just really quick, I want to say before we get into our predictions, thank you again so much. This has been incredible. Can't wait to see what we could do with this. But let's get into the predictions really quick. Obviously tonight, talking about Kevin Durant, I guess we could show this clip one more time because we won't be seeing that actually happening. So we'll just show it. But with that being
It's a cool
said,
edit. I mean, how many cool Kevin Durant edits have we all made? Like,
I-
I'll go find. I'll go
Yeah.
find mine.
Yeah.
Keep going, Griffin. But
yeah, that's a cool one. But ultimately, tonight play the Phoenix Suns. Saturday you play the Spurs, no Wemby, and then Monday face the Grizzlies, and then we will be back here next Wednesday for the podcast. Go check out yesterday's episode, very great episode, March Madness. But with that being said, 3 games, Lewis. What do you got our record? Oh wait, we got it. Yep. See, it's like with Soto with the MLB. You gotta have it. You gotta have it's cool edit. Cool edit.
And he looks tough. I'm not gonna lie. He looks tough
Yeah.
with the Celtics jersey.
It's cool, but I don't want it.